Anyway, this is going to be a DVD Blu-ray update. I've got a fair few titles to show. First up, I'm going to show an outstanding release. It was sent to me by our video to review, and it's the complete Dr. Phibes starring the great Vincent Price. It's an absolutely brilliant edition. Contains The Vulnerable Dr. Phibes and Dr. Phibes Rises Again, 1971-72 respectively. Both directed by Robert Fust. The plot: Vincent Price stars as Anton Phibes. He's a scientist, organist and theologian, and he seeks revenge against the 9 doctors and nurses, which include Joseph Cotton and the wonderful Terry Thomas, who he considers responsible for the death of his wife. The help of his silent female assistant, he dispatches the culprits in a series of creative ways, each one inspired by the film's slightly different take on the 10 plagues of Egypt in the Old Testament. The sequel, Dr. Phibes awakens from his slumber and resolves to bring his dead wife back to life. In order to do this, he must venture into Egypt and find the Pharaoh's tomb, where the river of life flows. However, another man, a man called Beiderbecke, played by Robert Quarry from Count Yorga, the Count Yorga films, he also seeks to find the river so that he can enjoy eternal life. Having reached the site first, Phibes resorts to his usual tricks in order to stop Beiderbecke and his party, along with the police, from discovering the secret of the tomb. My thoughts on the film: the first Phibes film is fantastic. It's like Theatre of Blood. Essentially has kind of the similar formula. It offers a great mix of black humour and horror. I don't think it's quite as good or as brutal as Theatre of Blood, but the deaths are very imaginative, and the film is really enjoyable. It's quite a novel film in the sense of its historical setting. It's set in the 1920s. But there's a real kind of striking sort of anachronistic Art Deco design visible in the set. It gives it almost a very late 60s, early 70s feel to it. Nevertheless, the role is quite unique for Price because it doesn't require him to talk that much. I prefer him talking more myself, since he's best when he's really chewing, the dialogue. But he's still really good in this. I don't want to spoil anything, but the reveal of his true face at the end is really well done. Really reminds me of Darkman. You've seen Darkman, the first one. The first one's worth seeing, not 2 and 3, but the first one with Liam Neeson really reminds me of Darkman with the reveal at the end. He's surrounded by some really good actors as well. Price in this, you've got Joseph Cotton, Hugh Griffith, Terry Thomas, Peter Jeffrey. They all deliver memorable performances. So much that I think three of the actors return from the sequel, 2 playing different roles, Terry Thomas being one of them. And now the second Phibes film, that's kind of a totally different animal. It really could be described as completely abominable. It's not very good. It's the worst of all as well. You'd expect it to be kind of crazy, but it's not really crazy, and it's pretty boring. Given the nature of the plot, you really would expect it to be more enjoyable, but it feels really restrained by comparison. It was really rushed into production as well, this one, and you can really feel it. There's fine, there's good good actors, turn up in cameo roles, and they're really kind of wasted. Terry Thomas and Peter Cushing turns up as a boat captain, and he's only on the screen literally for around 2 minutes, and it's a real sin, an actor of his quality. Price is a lot better than the material he gets in the second film as well. If they had done a sequel, they should have gone with the Bride of Dr. Phibes idea. I was reading about it years ago. I think you can catch up a lot of it on Wikipedia. That plot, the synopsis for that sounded really, really interesting. Really kind of some varied deaths in it as well. I have no idea why they didn't go for that. Instead, they went for this whole Egyptian plot instead, and it doesn't really work. The transfer is, judging by the comparisons to the same master that shout use for their Vincent Price collection. But the Arrow release is more robust due to them having discs themselves. You know, like Theatre of Blood, there's a few specks and blemishes here and there, but overall it looks fantastic. Really does look excellent. Really brings out the colourful set in Phibes' lair as well, in that in particular. Now by contrast, this is the first film that sees Dr. Phibes rise again, appearing on Blu-ray. On the whole, it looks a little weaker than the first film. A touch more grain and damage to some scenes, but it's still a really good transfer, and it's faithful to the source. And short of an expensive restoration, which is highly doubtful, I really can't imagine it looking any better than this. It comes, like most Arrow kind of releases, it comes with an absolute ton of extras. You've got an audio commentary on The Abominable Dr. Phibes by Director Robert Fust. You have Dr. Phibes and the Gentleman. It's always really enjoyable, entertaining, with a cast of legal gentlemen, but it's a bit impromptu and it's a bit poorly researched by the gentleman's part. I was expecting it to be a little bit better than it was. Throughout, Mark Gatiss refers to Hugh Griffith by another name. He realises his mistake, but no one really kind of helps him out with the correct name. He seems a lot more clued up with Theatre of Blood. You know, you can judge that by the commentary they did for the film. Interviews. We've had interviews with Victoria Price and David DeVal on a few Arrow Vincent Price's releases, and taken together they provide a really informative biography of Price at various points in his career. The package, it's really nice. It's a really nice slip box. There, you've got 2 digipacks. There. Oh, it's a really beautiful release. You've got a really in-depth, as always, like a really in-depth booklet. It's more of a hand booklet, really. Very much like Arrow's Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. If you have that, which I'd also recommend, there's Terry Thomas. Vincent Price, cut cushion as well. I mean, it really is a 2-minute job in the second film. We have, in this booklet, we have Phibes Resurrectus. It's a new essay on the films by Julian Upton. The films of Robert Fust. He talks about the director's life and career. He also did The Devil's Reign of Ernest Borgnine, which is an absolutely real favourite of mine. I think you get a DVD from Dark Sky. Just released that. It's a great film as well. There's an interview with Tim Burton. I think they did that a few years back. His memories of Vincent Price. A small piece with Caroline Munro, Phibes' dead wife, about her memories of the production. There's an article on the life and art of Brian Eatwell, who created the memorable set designs for Phibes' films. And there's also a piece on the composer, Basil Kirchin. There's a really interesting article on American International Pictures as well, productions in Britain. They made a number of films in Britain, including the brilliant Witchfinder General, is one of my all-time favourite horror films. The last horror film they made here was Madhouse, which is another good Vincent Price film. I really enjoyed that one. Similar to Phibes and Theatre of Blood in tone, but probably darker, I think, on the whole. I really hope Arrow release that at some point if they can. The final piece in the booklet is an interview with Milton Moritz, who was an American International's picture head of advertising publicity. This release is limited to 3,000 copies as well, and it's thoroughly worth it. I would really recommend picking this up. It's a fantastic release, and Arrow have really outdone themselves. It's fantastic, so please pick that up. Right, next up I'm going to be showing a few of the kind of releases I picked up from Arrow. I picked up The King of New York, Steelbook. Big fan of this film for the most part. I think it's one of Walken is really fantastic, and Lawrence Fishburne's good in it as well. Wesley Snipes, very good. Abel Ferrara film, very strange character, but he's done some fantastic films. Bad Lieutenant being my favourite, but King of New York's definitely up there. I picked up as well Pit and the Pendulum, another Vincent Price film. This is really beautiful Steelbook. Real good Vincent Price film. Probably not part of the A-list of Price films. but definitely like in the high Bs. If you would grade a price film, it's still, you know, it's really, really good. And I also picked up the Steelbook Theatre of Blood. I sent the Arrow release by Arrow, and the last update I really wanted to pick up the Steelbook because it's just fantastic. It's a really great film as well. This is definitely in the high category of price for films. It's fantastic. I picked up a few DVDs. First up is St. Valentine's Day Massacre, Jason Robards. I hear this is, you know, really good, and I wanted to pick it up. I've got a bit of a taste for kind of late 60s, early 70s gangster films at the minute, so I really should have had this in my collection before that, but I wanted to get it for a while. This is a Shout 4-pack of, you know, we've got Bulletproof with Gary Busey. I had that on DVD originally. It's not bad. Gary Busey tries a little bit too hard. I don't really see him as action movie material, but probably worth it for the cast of baddies. Henry Silver, and we've got William Smith. I think there's somebody else in it as well, maybe. I don't really care for these two releases. I bought it mainly for Trackdown. Jim Mitchum, who looks so much like his father in this one. He goes to Los Angeles on the trail of his runaway sister, and he really runs amok in it. It's a really, really good revenge film. Really nasty in places as well. You know, particularly when there's really gets heated during the middle of the film. Really good that. I was really impressed with it. I picked up a double feature of Nickel Ride with Jason Miller and 99 and 40 or 100% Dead. That's Richard Harris. That's a bit of a it's kind of like a pastiche film, but also then at times the tone gets very, very serious. You don't really know what to make of it. It's a bit of a mess, in all honesty. Coming from someone like John Frankenheimer, I mean, whose quality of work's amazing. It's a bit of a dud. But the Nickel Ride with Jason Miller, that's a brilliant gangster film. A lot in the tone of Friends of Eddie Coyle. It's a really good one. Really, really good one. Yeah, Bo Hopkins turns up in that. It's a really good film. I'd really recommend that one. And in the vein of kind of the 70s kind of crime, Report to the Commissioner, this was... I can't begin to tell you how good this film was. Mark Moriarty's fantastic. Yaphet Kotto just nails the New York cop so well. The cast is excellent. The story's brilliant. I couldn't recommend this film enough. Definitely pick this up if you're really into your 70s crime. It's fantastic. It's really, really good. Right, I picked up a few Steelbooks, again from another YouTuber, Movies R Us 1985. I've already bought some Steelbooks off him. I got these for a great price and they're in fantastic condition, you know, really, really keeps them well. I picked up the Iron Man 3 Steelbook. Not as probably nice as Iron Man 1 and 2 Steelbooks per se. I mean, I prefer to kind of not a cover like that, but probably something more kind of Iron Man orientated of him on the front, but you know, it's still a good release. Nicely embossed there, you know, it's not a bad film actually as well, apart from the twist halfway through, which I found just appalling. Oh, really did. Olympus Has Fallen Steelbook, good little action film. I enjoy it. I think it's you know, I like action that kind of takes itself kind of seriously. I think it helps the film, and this is a good one, good modern kind of action film. I also picked, which I've never seen this film, Pacific Rim, Guillermo del Toro. I might give it a chance. I mean, I watched Godzilla recently, and I can't begin to tell you how appalled I was at that film. It was just absolutely atrocious, just a waste of my time. Really, really bad film. Too much teasing, I'm not a fan of it. City of God Steelbook, I picked this up from Zowie for a tenner, I think. Really, really good film. I had it on DVD, and I never upgraded to Blu-ray for it, but I'm glad I did. This is a really, really nice release as well. Cracking film. Really, really good film. And I think the last Steelbook I picked up, I don't normally go all kind of goofy for Steelbooks, but this had to be got. This is just a fantastic release. Wolf of Wall Street, it's unbelievable. Really, really lovely Steelbook. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's an awesome film as well. I recommend that. It's really, really nice Steelbook, great film. Right, I picked up this more. There's a lot of horror kind of titles coming now. This is from Scorpion. Dogs with David McCallum. Great nature fights back movie, animal attack movie, really, really good. The ending is, oh, so funny. Oh man, when the dogs are pursuing the fat ginger lad in this, I was just laughing so much. It's really good, really quite. some of the shots of McCallum gunning down some of the dogs that have gone, well, slightly vicious. It's very entertaining. Really great hour and a half. If you want to just switch off and watch a really entertaining film, this is one of them. Fantastic transfer. Honestly, Scorpion's transfer on this is unbelievable. When you see so-called like bigger companies releasing kind of really shittier transfers of more well-known movies, you really appreciate what Scorpion do. This transfer, this film shouldn't even look this good. They've done a fantastic job, and Scorpion's one company that really needs support, man. They release some fantastic releases, you know, and definitely really good company. House on Sorority Row, this is a great little slasher film. And in fact, you know, it's not great. It's a fantastic little movie. The ending as well, really good ending. Really memorable. Very good film. If you haven't seen that, especially the ending, I won't reveal it in any way. I'm probably going to keep that away as well if you haven't seen it, that particular shot. Great film, really good film. Now I picked two releases up from Screen Factory. This film coming up, I might nag a little bit regarding the transfer because it's not good, but it's Ravenous. This is probably one of my favourite horror films. Historical setting, set on the back just after the US-Mexican War, or probably slightly during it, coming towards the end. Guy Pearce plays a soldier who, during an act of cowardice on the battlefield, he somehow came out looking a hero. He's dispelled to a garrison way up in the Sierras, and he gets thrown into a situation, you know, involving Robert Carlyle, who was part of a party which resulted in cannibalism. I won't reveal too much into there because it will spoil things, but it's a brilliant film, so good. And the transfer it's shitty. It's a real shame. Scream really. I mean, this film should look so much better, and I think it's because I love the film so much. I desperately try not to notice it, but you really do. I mean, some of the outdoor shots aren't too bad. Some of the indoor shots near the end when they're back at the fort, that's not too bad even by candlelight. But some of the outdoor shots, it's poor. It's so poor, which is an incredible shame because it's a brilliant film. Yeah, the soundtrack as well by Damon Albarn is just unbelievable. It's Michael Nyman as well. It's fantastic. One of my all-time favourite film scores. It's brilliant. It's a great film. Just a shame that the transfer was so poor. I picked up Sleepaway Camp. This nice slipcover again. It's really good 80s slasher film. With the ending is just. I mean, some people can say mind-blowing. I found it, first time I saw it with the ending, I found it creepy as hell. Really creepy. I saw it many years ago. Very creepy. And it's an outstanding film. Definitely pick it up. You know, if you're a fan of 80s horror, which I am, definitely pick it up. It's great. I picked up two Twilight Time releases. First up is Rollerball, which I haven't seen I never even had this on DVD. I had it on VHS really back in the day. I really should have upgraded by now. And also I picked up, which is a really real favourite of mine, Sam Peckinpah, Bring Me the Head by Alfredo Garcia. Really awesome film. I love Warren Oates. He's an absolute just a hero in my eyes. He's just a really great actor. You knew where you stood with him. He just brought such a coolness. Didn't have to try, and that was the difference. Yeah, this is a great film. If you haven't seen it, it's really good. I picked up as well just a classic. I really forgot how good it was. Get Carter. Kane is just so good in this movie. Really enjoy reading about it as well. The rivalry between him and Ian Hendry. Ian Hendry was going through bad alcoholism at this point. Ian Hendry's fantastic in this film as well. In fact, the whole cast is. It's just brilliant. Newcastle looks so not horrible. That's not the right word, but grim. if ever the term of like it's grim up north could be applied to a film, it would probably be this. That's no disrespect to Newcastle in any way. Christ, there's shit parts of every place, you know. God knows from Birmingham I've seen my fair share, but like it's really so grim. The ending's so grim as well. It's such a great film. The bit where Kane kicks the car door onto the guy's head and the head goes to the window is just so effortlessly just brilliant piece of violence. It's a great film. Please, you know, watch it if you haven't seen it. And I picked up 2 Digibooks. First is Unforgiven. I had the standard Amaray. Fantastic film. 2 real bits. There's bits in this film I love. The Richard Harris bit with Gene Hackman, that's a real favourite, and the ending is just brilliant. I mean, Hackman, Eastwood, now Freeman as well. Sometimes Freeman kind of called a few roles in later on after this, but he's very good in this movie. Oh, Hackman's amazing, isn't it? Just Hackman. When you watch this film, you realise, and other films as well of Hackman, and you realise what a loss he is. You know, when he retired from acting, he's so good. Fantastic, yeah, that's a great release. And the last up, I saw this in Donnie's update, had it on DVD, and I thought I really need to pick this up because it's a great film, a real favourite of mine. Flesh Plus Blood, Rutger Hauer. Rutger Hauer plays a mercenary soldier. He's attached to a large mercenary company led by Jack Thompson. Jack Thompson is called Hawkwood in this. The name Hawkwood is kind of synonymous with mercenary leaders anyway. Sir John Hawkwood led a very famous mercenary band, mainly of English and Gascons. He led them during the wars in Italy during the 1360s and 70s. And to be fair, you see, on the whole, there's not many really late medieval, early Renaissance films like this. It's really, really good. I think it's set with the name of the guy who hires the mercenary company. I think he's called Andafini. I think it must be in northern Italy. I'd say it's set in, I think, 15. It just says 1501 Europe, I think, from what I remember. But it's a very seedy film. There's some great backup cast as well. Part of Martin's group. What have we got? We've got Bruno Kirby. We've got Brian James. Ronald Lacey as this debauched cardinal. Ronald Lacey quite slim at this point as well. He'd had like cancer for many years, but this is one of his kind of thin episodes. If you watch Blackadder, his stint in that in the same year, you'll see his weight going back and forth because I think he had part of his lower intestines removed. But he's very good in this. It's a great film. It's seedy and it's depraved, and you know what would you expect from like a Paul Verhoeven film? It's really good. It's a great release as well. And this is the re-release one as well, where limited or edition spelt right. I think it's edition spelt right. Yeah, it's a great release, and I'm really happy to have it. So yeah, that is the end of the update. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back with a Criterion update next week sometime. So yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for your comments, and yeah, I'll see you soon. Cheers.